Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 12, text number 10. Abhyase api asamarto asi mat karma karamo bhava mat artam api karmani kurvam siddhim abhyapsyasi abhyase api asamarto asi mat karma paramo bhava mad attam api karmani Urvan siddhim avapsyasi abhyase api asam marto asi mat karma paramo bhava mad artam api karmani kurvam siddhim avapsyasi. Someone else? Word for word. Abhyase. In practice. Api. Even if. Asamartha. Unable. Asi. You. Are. Mat karma. My work. Karma. Dedicated to. Bhava, become. Mat artam, for my sake. Api, even. Karmani, work. Kurvam, performing. Siddhim, perfection. Avapsyasi, you will achieve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Please repeat. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, and try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Purport. One who's not able even to practice the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga under the guidance of a spiritual master one who is not able even to practice the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga under the guidance of a spiritual master can still be drawn to this perfectional stage by working for the Supreme Lord. How to do this work has already been explained in the 55th verse of the 11th chapter. One should be sympathetic to the propagation of Krishna consciousness. There are many devotees who are engaged in the propagation of Krishna consciousness and they require help. So even if one cannot directly practice the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga, he can try to help such work. Every endeavor requires land, capital, organization, and labor. Just as in business, one requires a place to stay, some capital to use, some labor, and some organization to expand. The same is required in the service of Krishna. The only difference is that in materialism, one works for sense gratification. The same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, and that is spiritual activity. If one has sufficient money, he can help in building an office or temple for propagating Krishna consciousness, or he can help with publications. There are various fields of activities, and one should be interested in such activities. If one cannot sacrifice the results of his activities, the same person can still sacrifice some percentage to propagate Krishna consciousness. This voluntary service to the cause of Krishna consciousness will help one to rise to a higher state of love for God, whereupon one can become perfect. Om Argyantarandasya Janajana Sakaya Chakshurinitam Jena Admei Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Tabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Ramayam Danti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagatam Sahagana Raganatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvaitam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Madam Sahagana Laita Vishakambam Cha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpajay Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Nosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavan Ishware Vishvanu Devi Priyamani Priye Panchakopya Turubhyascha Piva Sindhu Evacha Ainam Bhavleyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langante Giram Yat Kripata Maham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarnam. I offer my respectful obeisances under my spiritual master, the deliverer of all souls, whose mercy turns the dumb into elegant speakers, enables the lame to cross mountains, and even a dog can swim across the ocean. Translation: If one cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So this is chapter 12 called Devotional Service. And these verses, starting with 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Krishna is giving different steps. First he says, just fix your mind upon me, Supreme Personality Godhead, engage all intelligence in me, thus you will live with me always without a doubt. Then he says, my dear Arjuna, a winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Now, in this verse, he's saying, if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then try to work for me, because by working for me, you'll come to the perfect stage. So the Bhagavad Gita is compared to a treasure chest, a treasure box. And you have a treasure box, has a top and a bottom, and in the middle is the treasure. So the top and the bottom represent karma and jnana, but the middle is bhakti. Rupa Goswami says, Anyabhila Sita Sunya Karna Karma Anabitam Anilakela Krishnasno Bhakti Uttamam. This is the definition of bhakti, which is free from karma, free from jnana. But those are indirect processes. But bhakti or devotional service is always required for if one wants to go back to God and attain perfection in the yoga process. So here, Krishna is saying, just try to work for me. So that people in the material world, they're not able to dedicate, fully surrender their lives to Krishna and live in the temple and follow this regulated sadhana bhakti and follow bhakti bhakti. But we're still, they're not excluded from performing some kind of devotional service. So as Srila Prabhupada started this life membership program, he would, so we go to the different classes, different people, and we ask him to help spread Krishna consciousness by giving some donation. In this way, they're giving some of their hard-earned money for the cause of Krishna consciousness. It's called Gyata Sakriti. Sometimes people give their donations to devotees, even if they don't know we're devotees, they get some benefit. So the people are benefited by giving their hard-earned money to the Krishna consciousness movement. And also, when we go to make them life members, we also give them Srila Prabhupada's books and try to encourage them to also take up the process of Krishna consciousness at the same time. So it's not just we go to get their money. That's not our main objective, just to get people's money. We want to engage them in Krishna's service, make them favorable, so that they can will want to come to the temple, want to give more and more, want to participate and some of them become full-time devotees, eventually get initiated. So, but this is the way to the beginning, how to begin, get someone interested in Krishna consciousness by giving them Srila Prabhupada's books, getting him to read Srila Prabhupada's books, to chant one round or so many rounds a day, in this way gradually become devotees. In Srimad Bhagavatam, what does it say? It says, Akamo Saro Kamo Ba Mokshikamo Daradi Divrena Bhakti Yogena. What's the last line? What's the last line? And then Purusham Param. Whether one has material desires or no material desires, in all circumstances, a person who has broader intelligence, where he is full of all material desires, without material desires, desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the Personality of Godhead. So, what's being described here is karma yoga. Karma yoga, or engaging one's fruits in the service of Krishna. One man came to see Prabhupada in Mayapur, and he asked Prabhupada why we constructed this temple here. And Prabhupada said, well, if I didn't construct this temple, then you wouldn't have come here. So this temple construction business is not required for the devotee. Individually, we don't require big temples, but the temple is required for spreading Krishna consciousness, to bring people to Krishna consciousness. So here it says that it's one to try to help the Krishna conscious movement. So this way, the fruits of the labor can be utilized in Krishna's service. Otherwise, people work very hard in the material world and just squander their money on sense gratification, and they have no idea what the goal of life is. Most people think the goal of life is to eat, drink, and be merry, and enjoy as much as you can, because they say at the end of life there's nothing happens. You just simply die, and at the end, the body and it's just a lump of chemicals. It's just a bunch of chemicals. So when the chemicals are finished, they are finished. But the Bhagavad Gita tells us that there knows yatade ekonam yoganam jara tatadayam jara paptir dirachatra. That the soul from youth to boyhood to old age then it transmigrates again to another body. It says in the 15th chapter that when the conditioned soul accepts one body after another, just like the air carries the aroma. So it is subtle, it's very subtle. You can't perceive this. This is how the soul is being transferred from one body to another. But it's happening. But people think that they're growing, but they're not actually growing. We're actually changing one body to another until the time of death. And death means that our karma for this life has expired, and then according to our karma, we take another body and then continue in the cycle of birth and death. So we don't want to remain in this material world. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in his prayer, somehow or other I've fallen in this material world, so my dear Lord, please pick me up as an atom at your lotus feet, and so that I can get out of this material world. We shouldn't want us to remain in the material world, because from the planet, Dukaya Lama Shasvatam, from the Brahma Loka down to the lowest planet, the suffering where repeated birth and death take place. So Since time immemorial, the living entity has been bound up in the material world, going up and down, starting as Brahma and then becoming an insect or whatever, or amoeba, or it can go through 8,400,000 species of life. But only when we come to the human form of life, out of 8,400,000, only 400,000 are actually human forms. That includes the demigods, also the demigods, but only a human being can inquire, tato brahmaji jignasa. The animals, they cannot inquire. Animals don't incur any sin. Although we see the monkeys in Vrindavan, they're mischievous. If you wear your glasses downtown, they'll steal your glasses. And they do so many mischievous activities. That monkey means trouble. But they're not committing sinful activities. They're not. They don't have the power to reason what is good and what is bad. They're simply acting according to instinct or direction of the super soul. So, but when we come to human form of life, we can understand that there's rules and regulations, government laws that we have to follow, and if we don't follow them, then there'll be some consequences. We have to go to jail or go to court, suffer, or pay a fine or something. But for the animals, it's not like that. So, human form of life, we have sufficient intelligence to inquire about why I've come in this, why I'm here in this material world, why I'm suffering, why so many things are happening, and but also, but it's required that we seek out a spiritual master. One should search out a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. He can impart knowledge unto you because he's seen the truth. So this is the purpose of the Vedas, purpose of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. They're like hand instruction books for human society. When you buy a appliance, a refrigerator, or computer, it comes with an instruction book, how it should be operated. And in the same way, the Vedas were compiled and written down by Srila Vyasadeva, an Indian literary incarnation of God, for the benefit of human society, as an instruction book on how one should live one's life to become Krishna conscious. And of course, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana, that is the essence of all the Vedas, which was compiled by Srila Vyasa in his maturity after he compiled all the other Vedas. And the Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata, which is considered the fifth Veda, and is the fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita is there. And Bhagavad Gita is considered the ABC, or the beginning of spiritual life. Srimad Bhagavatam is the graduate study, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is the postgraduate study. So Bhaktisiddhanta said, if you're drowning in the ocean, you should carry 3 books with you: Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. And if they get too heavy, you can let go of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, but you should always carry the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So when Srila Prabhupada was coming across the ocean on the Jaladuta, he was having much distress due to seasickness and so many things, riding on a cargo ship for so many days, 38 days. So he said that the Chaitanya Charitamrita was giving him solace, or giving him hope and and soothing his pain of the trip. So Chaitanya Charitamrita contains all the essential truths that we need to know about Krishna consciousness. So we should study Bhagavad Gita, we should study Srimad Bhagavatam, and we should study Chaitanya Charitamrita, so that take advantage of all these books, because Prabhupada went to so much trouble to translate and purport these books to make it clear, give us a clear understanding. One time in Russia there was a court case against the devotees for distributing Bhagavad Gita. So the lawyer for the devotees said, what's the problem with the Bhagavad Gita? It's been in your university library since 1930, and you never had a court case. But the judge said, that was different. This is Bhagavad Gita as it is. And this is turning people away from our Christianity and making people into devotees. So that's what we want to do. When distributing Bhagavad Gita, to turn people into devotees. And Srila Prabhupada was in America. The reporters questioned him, why have you brought a new religion to America? We already have so many religions. Well, Prabhupada said, we have not come to challenge other religions or bring a new religion. We came to teach people how to love God. And then they asked Srila Prabhupada if he thought Christianity had failed the people, and he said, yes, I think so. I mean, we see that most of our temples in America were churches before, and people lost interest in going to church, so they had to sell the building, and reluctantly they would sold the building to the Krishna conscious movement. Sometimes we had to have help from outside people, because anyway, now the same church buildings which were not being utilized and no one was coming is now has devotees with their having a regular daily program, and especially on Sunday having a Sunday feast where 200 to 500 people come every Sunday, take prasadam, associate with devotees, hear philosophy, and take darshan of deities. In this way, Krishna consciousness is being propagated all over the world. This was the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that in every town and village the holy name of Krishna be heard. And the Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers couldn't realize that, but Srila Prabhupada made it a reality. And now we even have temple in Mongolia, which is I don't know how far, a very far away country with very few people, like 3 million people, but there's a temple there. Temple in China, Russia, all the countries of the world, there are devotees who are chanting the holy name and practicing Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness is the positive alternative to materialistic way of life. It's giving people some purpose in life. Otherwise people don't have any real understanding of purpose in life. So in this verse it says that one should donate, use his capital to the organization for the spreading of Krishna consciousness. As Prabhupada says, that capital is required. Especially, we had to build this temple, build a temple in Mumbai, Mayapur. So many different temples have come up in the Krishna conscious movement, especially in India, and therefore it is required that people give their some portion of their income. Of course, for the devotees, the full-time devotees of Krishna conscious, Prabhupada said they should give 50% of their income. But we don't know if that's possible in this day and age. But when Rupa and Sanatana Goswami were in the government service, they had acquired boatloads of gold and silver. So when they retired, they divided their wealth. They gave 50% to the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. They gave 25% to the family, and they kept 25% for emergencies, because they knew they were going to have some legal problems, some difficulties, because they untimely resigned from the government. So this is what Prabhupada wanted. He wanted all of the members of Krishna consciousness to give 50% of their income. But this day and age, I don't know, the cost of living is very difficult for people in the West to live and give that much, but they can give something. They should always give something. To householders, brahmacharis, of course, don't keep bank balance, don't have any money, any to speak of, anything to give, because they don't they don't get anything to give. The householders, they have to maintain their family, they have to work in some way or another, they have to get some money, so they should not be miserly. Even Bhaktisiddhanta told his householders that they should give charity to the widows in Vrindavan. Otherwise you'll maintain a miserly attitude and you won't want to give to Krishna either. So it's not wrong to give in charity to the widows, to the poor people in Vrindavan, even, but in Vrindavan, even the beggars, a lot of them wear Vaishnav tilak, sit in one place and are trying to get a few rupees just to maintain themselves. But according to what means, one can give to the Krishna conscious movement, and the Birlas and the Tattvas, and there are many wealthy families in India, and we approach them to help us with our construction work. In Mayapur, we need so much help to finish that building, so it is required that people give as much as possible. And then it says this voluntary service to the cause of Krishna consciousness will help one rise to a higher state of love of God, whereupon one becomes perfect. So, love of God, prema pamartha mohan, this is the perfectional stage. There's abhideya, parojana, sambandha, abhideya, parojana. These are represented by the deities of Madanohan, Govindji, and Gopinath. And Sambandhan means establishing our relationship with Krishna. Abhideya means how to establish that relationship by engaging in devotional service. And Parojana means complete perfection. So this complete perfection means that we surrender completely. This Sarvadharma Parichaja Mamekam Saranamaja Ham Tvam Sarvabhavino Mokshashami Mahasuchaha. This is the last, Krishna's last word in Bhagavad Gita, that we should give up all varieties of religiosity and just surrender unto Him. And He says He will protect you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So surrendering our body, mind, and words in the service of Krishna, this is required. This verse is talking about karma yoga, or surrendering one's hard-earned money but then gradually it says one can come to the higher stage of love of God. But those who are full-time devotees, have been initiated, first and second initiated, sannyasis, they're trying to surrender their full lives, especially sannyas, who carries the Tridanda, which means that he is surrendered body, mind, and words solely for the service of Krishna. The Mayavadis, they carry Ekdanda, and they want to merge into the Brahman effulgence. But that is not, does not give one satisfaction. Even if one rises up to the Brahman effulgence, because of not taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, one does not feel satisfied in that condition, and he has to come back and again in the material world and open schools and hospitals and perform some kind of philanthropic activities. But so the merging into Brahman effulgence is considered like the water in a calf's footprint, very insignificant compared to the there's some bliss there, some happiness there, but it's only like the water in a calf's footprint. And devotional service and service to Krishna, it gives 10 million times more pleasure. So this Krishna consciousness movement, started by Srila Prabhupada, we're not a social welfare organization, which means we want people, our activities should be restricted to book distribution, selling books, to distributing prasadam, and building temples and whatever else, maintaining the temples. This is required. Other activities, opening hospitals, opening mundane schools, these are digging wells or planting trees. These things are not part of our Krishna conscious movement. This is not to criticize. Some devotees have done that, open hospitals. Those were special cases. But as a general rule, we're not interested in these things. Even when they open the Gurukul, and they asked Prabhupada, should we have a room for a doctor, for a medical man? And he said, no, not required. So we're not interested in anything which doesn't help to propagate and spreading of Krishna consciousness. When Prabhupada was in Mayapur, he looked out the veranda. He saw that the children were fighting with the dogs over the prasadam place that had been thrown away. So he said that we should start this Food for Life program, distribute prasadam, and no one should go hungry within a radius of 10 miles of our temple. So this Prabhupada wanted Food for Life distribution in prasadam. He wanted book distribution, publication of books. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta told Prabhupada when he met him at Radhakund, his final instruction, if you ever get money, then print books. Because we can go on Harinam Sankirtan in the big cities in America, and people can hear the holy name and get benefited. But that kirtan is limited to a small area. But the Brihat Bandanga, or the kirtan of the printing press, that is can spread all over the world. And that is why Prabhupada wanted all his books translated in as many languages in the world. And therefore, when people get a book, they will take it home. If they take it home, they'll put it in their library and their bookshelf. People generally don't throw away books. Once they get a book, they'll keep it. and they may not read it, but in the future someone else may read it and become a devotee, and we don't know what the effects will be. And now Satyanarayan Prabhu, our godbrother, is working with the BBT, and he's printing some of Prabhupada's books in foreign languages where there haven't been any books in the because many of the foreign students come from Muslim countries like Iran and Iraq and Saudi Arabia, and when we give them a book in their language, they are very much very happy by that. And he said that not only when they read the book, not only do they take the book, but they sit down immediately and start reading it, just out of curiosity. So Krishna consciousness movement is being spread in this way, and this, what is saying here, that people have to give to the Krishna consciousness movement to help facilitate these things, building temples and printing books. And it also, if one can't do those things, one can plant flowers, one can grow tulsi. This is also included in working for Krishna. If a man is poor, has some land and lives in a village, he can grow tulsi. It says patram pushpam paloto yome bhakti priyachati. So that one offers leaf, flower, fruit, water I will accept. So this leaf means tulsi. Tulsi is sacred to Krishna, and Krishna doesn't accept any offering without tulsi leaves. So even a farmer who's very poor and doesn't have any money, he can grow tulsi, he can grow flowers and be offered them to Krishna. In this way, utilize his hard labor for propagating Krishna consciousness. So this verse says that if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, try to work for me, because by working for me, you'll come to the perfect stage. So this is called punya, kripa, punya, punyaha, kripa. The cowherd boys, the gopis in Vrindavan, it says they accumulated heaps of pious activities in order to enter into Krishna Lila. We know the sages of Danyakaranya were attracted to Lord Ramachandra, and they wanted Madhurya Ras. But he's not in that mood. He can't have Madhurya Ras. He has Aishwarya Ras. So they had to wait from the Treta Yuga till Krishna appeared in Dwapara Yuga to take birth as gopis, so they could enter into Krishna's pastimes and enjoy Madhurya Ras. And this is due to their kripa or punya, their pious activities. This is called spiritual pious activities. Material pious activities don't give one the same benefit. One may perform so many pious activities, or one may perform impious activities. Either way, these activities do not get one out of the material world. It's like the story of the king. One king, his name was, what was his name? He became a lizard. King Nariga. He gave so many cows in charity as drops of water in the rain cloud, as the sand on the earth, and the stars in the sky. So one time he gave some cows to one Brahmin, and then he gave some cows to another Brahmin, and then one cow from one Brahmin's herd wandered into the other Brahmin's herd. So he gave the same cow twice. So So both the Brahmins came to King Nariga and said, "No, you gave the cow to me, it's mine." And they were arguing. So King Nariga said, "I'll give you each 100,000 cows to settle the difference." And one Brahmin went away and the other Brahmin went away. They weren't satisfied. So although King Nariga had performed so many pious activities, he still had to go to Yamaraj. So he went to Yamaraj, and Yamaraj asked him, "Do you want to enjoy your pious activities? You have unlimited time you will enjoy due to your pious activities, or do you want to suffer for your impious activities?" So King Nariga became a little bewildered, and he said, "Well, let me suffer first." So in this way, he immediately got the body of a lizard. But it wasn't an ordinary lizard. He still had remembrance of Krishna, and Krishna eventually liberated him from that body, and he became a demigod. But the point is, if you do pious or impious activities in the material world, one will not get free from the cycle of birth and death, samsara. But if one performs spiritual pious activities, which is described here, then eventually the result will be that one can come to a higher stage of love of God, whereupon one becomes perfect. So this is the perfection of human life, to develop our love for God. Nothing short of that will save us from remaining in the material world. So Krishna says, whatever you remember at the time of death, that you will attain. Yam yam bapi smaram babam. So especially here in Vrindavan is very special. If one leaves his body in Vrindavan, if he's not a sinful person, then he will go back to Godhead. Even the other animals. Prabhupada said in Nectar Devotion series lectures, on one of those lectures he said, even the insects, even the trees, every living entity in Vrindavan goes back to Godhead at the time of death, except those who are sinful. If one is sinful in Vrindavan, having especially illicit sex, this is the most greatest offense in the holy Dham, then he'll have to take one more birth as an animal, either a monkey, a dog, or a hog, for a short time, and then he's purified of all his sins, and then he'll go back to Godhead. So this is the special advantage of living in Vrindavan, staying in Vrindavan, that we can go back to Godhead by leaving our body in Vrindavan. So, of course, Prabhupada didn't want all his disciples to just stay in Vrindavan to be Babajis, but he wanted us to be he didn't want us to be Babajanandis. He wanted us to be Gostianandis, travel all over the world, preach Krishna consciousness and spread Krishna consciousness. And they said when one has preached sufficiently and becomes old, and he can come and retire in Vrindavan and spend the rest of his life doing bhajan in Vrindavan and go back home, back to Godhead. So while we're in Vrindavan, we shouldn't waste our time uselessly in looking at internet or listening to mundane sound, but we should utilize our time fully to hearing and chanting and remembering Krishna, performing the 9 process devotional service. It's very easy to do in Vrindavan. From the time we wake up in the morning to the time we take rest at night, we should try to always keep ourselves engaged in Krishna's service. And if there's some time when we don't know what to do, we can always go in the temple room and join in the kirtan. Haridas Thakur said, by doing kirtan, you get 100 times the benefit that you get by japa. When we chant japa, we are only benefiting ourselves. But when we chant kirtan, then other people are benefited. So both are good for our advancement in spiritual life. Japa and kirtan. We can chant Prabhupada said 16 rounds, but that is minimum. We can chant as much as possible. We don't have to stop at 16 rounds. We can chant more and more as we like. And we can do kirtan, we can read Prabhupada's books, we can hear the lectures, and this way take advantage of the holy Dham and recharge our battery. And if we have to go back to some other country, we can always remember Vrindavan and get the benefit of being in Vrindavan. So that's. Anybody have any comments, questions?
Thank you very much. And if you also have even more spare time, you can greet some of those thousands of people who've come just to associate with the sadhus and preach to them very mildly, whatever time they have. Take them up and show them the changing bodies diorama and explain Dihinos Midnidadehe, and take them to the kirtan or take them to the Namahata department or the japa program so that they can also become part of the program, because whoever preaches to my devotees, Krishna says, is most dear to me.
There is no one more dear to he than me.
No one more dear.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhagavad Gita ki, Gaur Brahmananda.